Hey kids, do you like Yoshi? Yoshi! How would you like a game where you ride Yoshi and shoot Bowser's kids with a bazooka? Yoshi! Well, buckle up, friends. It's Yoshi's Safari for the Super Nintendo. Maybe you've been to an arcade and played Time Crisis or House of the Dead with a fake gun that you shoot at a screen. Or maybe you remember how the original Nintendo Entertainment System had Duck Hunt and you used the zapper gun to shoot at ducks on the TV. Well, the Super Nintendo had its own gun called the Super Scope. And because this was the 90s and everything was extreme, the Super Scope was shaped like a bazooka rather than a handgun. Also, maybe to look more like a toy so police wouldn't accidentally shoot a kid with a toy gun. Anywho, the Super Scope was released in 1992 and was packaged with a collection of minigames, all for the very nice price of $69.95. Yoshi's Safari released a year later in 1993, and it was an on-rail shooter set in the Mario universe where you rode Yoshi and shot enemies as they flew by. It looked great in screenshots and in magazines, but ultimately I never played it back in the day because my parents, and rightly, thought that it wasn't worth getting a Super Scope peripheral that barely had any games supported, which ended up being 12 in all. I didn't realize at the time that Yoshi's Safari could also use the Super Nintendo mouse, which I definitely had because I had Mario Paint growing up, so I actually could have at least rented Yoshi's Safari. The game used Mode 7 graphics, which was marketed as a special Super Nintendo graphics mode that gives the illusion of being 3D, but still being totally 2D, with the action rotating a background layer along a flat horizon, with 2D sprites growing larger as they approach the screen. Mode 7 was also used by several classic Super Nintendo games like the original Super Mario Kart and pretty much any racing game where you race into the screen. As far as Yoshi's Safari's game goes, you're pretty much on a track where you can't control where you go, besides a few spots where you can shoot to go down the left or a right route. And all you can do is shoot the waves of enemies that fly past you. But of course, it's Nintendo and it can't just be normal. You have to be riding a dinosaur, which, thumbs up. It's less complex than Star Fox or the Sega Genesis Superscaler games because there's no real navigation around level obstacles, and it's less complex than other light gun games like House of the Dead because there's no variety in enemy encounters. All enemies are just straight toward you. Nothing pops out from the side or from the bottom of the screen. The most complex Yoshi Safari gets are on the boss battles where you have to stop and have to shoot specific targets and the projectiles flying at you. It has all the Mario trappings you'd expect to see. You shoot Goombas and Koopalings, there's a ghost house level, those cheap fish make an appearance, as well as the Hammer Brothers and the Koopa Kids. It's the full Mario package. And with the Mode 7 graphics, it looks a lot like the original Super Mario Kart, except you use a gun and there's much bigger character sprites. I always love seeing the classic sprites redrawn in different contexts, especially when they're slightly off model. And in Yoshi's Safari, they're much larger and more detailed than they are on any Super Nintendo game. It's really quite a good-looking game. However, you're not using Yoshi's tongue to attack and eat enemies, which would have been really cool, but also probably not doable on the Super Nintendo with primarily sprites. And also Yoshi's tongue animation would have been, too slow to shoot everything on screen. And Yoshi's Safari was 2 years before Yoshi's Island, so we hadn't yet established that he shoots eggs yet, which also would have been cool. So instead, we get Mario with a bazooka. So to sum up, it's just wild to me that Yoshi's Safari exists. It's a first-person shooter where Mario rides Yoshi and shoots a bazooka. The game is absolutely gorgeous with big, beautiful, bright sprites. It's one of a kind for Nintendo. It truly was a game. Thank you for watching That Was a Game, and we'll see you again next time.